Dragon Ball is one of my favorite things ever, period. Across all mediums of entertainment, I've never seen such an unapologetic excuse to have your main characters throwing literal fucking planets at each other for entire seasons. So when you want to make a game out of something as bombastic and explosive as this, you'd figure everything just kinda lines up perfectly for a fun video game. I'll be greener than Namekian's pork sword if we haven't gotten some great ass examples too. Budokai 3, Infinite World, Shin Budokai, Burst Limit, Fighter Z, Tenkaichi, Xenoverse 2, Supersonic Warriors, Legacy of Goku, Boo's Fury. But despite the honestly surprising amount of decent Dragon Ball games there are, spanning an even more surprising size of genres, there's never really been a more open world style game, and certainly not one with dense systems and RPG mechanics on top of that. It's really the only style of game I felt hadn't been properly explored within this universe yet. So when I saw the first reveal of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, I was honestly kinda confused, actually. It wasn't entirely clear what this game was yet. Fast forward several months though, and at this point we've seen lots of gameplay. New sagas were being revealed, other characters were starting to become playable, and most importantly, there was going to be a side mission that referenced the driving school episode, so yeah, there's that. And pretty quickly, my attitude shifted from plain confusion to just... So, how does the much anticipated Kakarot stack up against the current landscape of video games, which may I remind you is fucking littered at this point with quality open world games? Meh. Let me first clarify that I went into this game with every intention to overlook a lot of the problems I knew it would have, simply because of my bias for the show. I figured maps might be a little bland, maybe some wonky controls here and there, and I didn't expect much from the various NPCs they've been going on and on about before release. Yet somehow this game still manages to disappoint me in so many ways. For everything it gets right, it gets something else wrong. This game is both equal parts disappointing and satisfying somehow, which averages out to a pretty meddling game that doesn't know what it wants to be. Does it want to be an open-ended RPG with a world worth exploring? No, because all you get for exploring these dull-ass landscapes are these infinitely spawning orbs that give you almost meaningless stat buffs for collecting literally thousands of them. Does it want to be a faithful retelling of all the stories we've come to know and love? Well, not really, because outside of the larger and more important plot points, the cutscenes are just two stiff robots throwing dialogue at each other. Does it even want to be a basic-ass single-player game with exciting battles to move you through the story at an entertaining pace? Well, kinda. The best part of this game is easily the combat. While it can look a little rough around the edges out in the world, the boss fights finally start ramping up the excitement by allowing you to recreate these jaw-dropping spectacles of horror you know and love from the show. Your characters are responsive and quick, combos are easy to understand and throw together on the fly, and the gameplay loop of adjusting your moves and abilities between fights is actually pretty damn fun. The problem is that these moments are few and far between. Maybe not even few, but definitely way too far apart from each other. Even the moment-to-moment battles you encounter in the world are painfully dull compared to the bosses. I understand that this game is trying to let you quote-unquote roleplay these characters, and that means going through every single story beat that they had in the anime, but this does not make for an engaging or fun gameplay experience. A lot of these moments could have been streamlined through cutscenes or time skips, but instead, Namco has decided to force you to dick around in this fairly empty world for hours upon hours, doing side quests that aren't even fun or hunting animals in the most boring way possible until you finally hit a boss fight from the show that lasts 15 minutes at most, which afterwards you're coldly reminded, oh, yeah, now I gotta go back to the rest of this game. Let's not gloss over the fact that throughout a lot of the game, you're not even allowed to play as Goku. The game is literally called Kakarot, and yet there will be gaps that last for hours. Hours where you can't even play as him. Because again, it's a story beat that doesn't translate well into actual gameplay. When I think about the possibility of a fully fleshed out Dragon Ball RPG, it honestly just puts this game to shame. It's pretty much only fun for the same reasons that watching Dragon Ball is fun, so why add this extra layer of interactivity by turning it into a game when all it really adds is moments of brilliance sandwiched between hours and hours of tedium? Like, why is the Piccolo blowing up the moon part not part of his boss fight with Gohan? Can you imagine how fucking cool it would be to actually play that moment instead of just watching it happen in a cutscene? And yet, the Raditz fight, something that probably would have actually been better suited for a cutscene, has you repeatedly starting it over so they can interrupt the entire flow with obligatory cutscenes. Fucking what? You have decades, literally decades, of fun and amazing plot points that would translate perfectly into exciting gameplay. You can start with the Dragon Ball stories and move all the way up to the Tournament of Power arc. All you would have to do is give it an interesting backdrop with a detailed open world that's actually fun to explore, which they could have done considering the source material had tons of colorful and imaginative environments. Despite all the work and care that obviously went into this game, it still somehow lacks any compelling reason to play it, especially after the credits roll. If I wasn't as big of a Dragon Ball fan as I am, I honestly don't know if I would have managed to pull any enjoyment from this, let alone finish it. What are you gonna do? 2 out of 5 Dragon Balls. Oh well, maybe next time. If you want something that even resembles this game in a more positive light, I'd recommend the old GBA games like Legacy of Goku and Boo's Fury. Otherwise, just keep playing Dragon Ball FighterZ. It's just by far the best Dragon Ball game available right now.